Hi,
Hi.
my name is Susana Martin. I am representing REC, Citizen Currency, from Barcelona. Um, at my side, there's Enrico.
Hi, I'm Enrico Stano. I'm here for Katuma. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay, so this is a presentation in which we're going to talk about citizen currencies and how they can combine and collaborate with the Open Food Network, and in general how the social currencies can contribute to the food sovereignty and sustainability in the food system. So first of all, we're going to make a presentation both of REC, citizen currency, and Katuma from the food network and the Open Food Network. And then we will share a few ideas on how we can collaborate. So REC is the citizen currency of Barcelona. It's a currency that has been created to support local shops and commerce. We have the support of the Barcelona City Council, which is pushing this initiative. We are an NGO. We are the ones who are launching the currency. It's an NGO. We're partners of the Barcelona City Council in the European project that is funding this initiative together with the Barcelona City Council. The project of the citizen currency is included in the BEM Income project, which is a project to create universal basic income, let's say, in different modalities, and try and see how each one of these modalities can contribute the most to the to take out of poverty to the citizens that are being subject to this project. So the citizen currency is one of the initiatives in the project, in the basic income project, and what the citizen does is receive part of the income in this currency. This means that the citizen is receiving the income in euros, and they have to change 25% into the citizen currency, and then spend it in the local shops of the area. This is the area in which we are working. It's 10 neighborhoods in the east-north part of Barcelona. It's an impoverished area. It's an area in which we are suffering commercial desertification. Shops are disappearing from the streets. And there's also an area in which the average income is very low. It's the lowest in Barcelona. The project is finishing in 1 year time. We started 2 years ago. And the impact that we expect to have in the area is on several sides. The most important impact we are expecting is to produce an increase in the economic multiplier of the public expenditure in the area. This means that before, with the euro, €1 that you put in a social subsidy in the area, 90% of the time would go straight to a big change of a supermarket, and then will be disappearing from the area forever, immediately. So we're trying that 25% of this income at least stays in the area a little bit more, and will produce incentives for this euro to be transformed into the local currency, and then circulate a bit more in the area and produce an increase in the income of all the people in the area. And that's one of the main impacts that we are expecting, to encourage the increase in the local multiplier of the public expenditure. And the second another objective is to increase the livelihood of the streets, stop the commercial desertification, allow these commerces to go on and produce a vibrant city with alive streets. And of course, we also, one of the other important objectives is, or targets, is to increase the knowledge and the networks of the citizens among themselves, to encourage local knowledge of neighbors. From the legal point of view, the currency is, it has the governance of its own users and other stakeholders. So it's not a city council currency. It is not managed by the city council. It's managed by, nowadays, the NGO where I belong, but in the near future is going to be transferred to a citizen organization that is managed by the citizens that use it. So, so for now, what we have is a contract with the council, in which they will assure that the citizens that receive this currency, that change euros to this currency, are going to be able to have a level of service. So we have a service level agreement, among other issues. And this we ensure that the users will be able to spend it and buy local food and everything they need in the area. And so that's the main part of the agreement legally. And then we have contracts of service with all the participants, of course, the commerce and the individuals. We also have a payment entity that is contracted by us, the managing entity for now. And this payment entity is one of the payment service directive that has been born thanks to this directive. So it's like a different entity that can carry out payments different from the banks. So this directive was issued by the European Union to allow more competition to banks and to allow other entities to become payment suppliers. And so this is one of them. And they are managing all the euros that we get from the user in exchange for the RECs are kept in this kind of entity, which are validated by the central banks, one of them, in the euro system. In this case is the Central Bank of France. But in any case, is a secure account in which the euros are safe, because it's separated from our balance sheet and the balance sheet of the entity, the payment entity. So it's safe even if we go bankrupt. The holders of the REC will always be able to rescue the euros that are back in. So these are all the legal system that we're using. In terms of technology, we are using a blockchain technology in the base, but it's not a cryptocurrency. The REC is a currency but the database is centralized. The reason why we don't distribute this blockchain is because we need to comply with the regulation, and we couldn't comply with any of the regulations like data protection or anti-money laundering or know your customer regulation. We couldn't comply with any of that if we were using a cryptocurrency. So it's not a cryptocurrency. It's using the blockchain technology for the database, but it's centralized. So all the money is in one wallet, and we use the technology for more for other reasons, for reasons to keep the technology more scalable and other benefits. And there's also very important that we have an API. So the system is open to transact with other systems. Other systems can connect into this platform, and we can allow them to create other systems for whatever provision of services that you can imagine. And they can introduce in their processes the payment with our currency thanks to this API. So it's a system that is open and is using the QR code payment method. This is how all China pays nowadays. It's just read the QR code, and then you can identify the payer and the one receiving the payment just with this system, which is very quick and efficient and safe. So nowadays the situation is that we are in 86 commerces. Well, this was the highlights a month and a half ago. Nowadays it's 115 shops in the area, and we have around a little less of 500 users. Exactly, yeah, 410 last week. So that's everything for now. Now we're listening to Enrico, Katuma.
Yep.
And we have to change this?
Yes.
Like this?
It's okay. So, yeah, it's okay. Thanks. So, Katuma is a service cooperative composed by local producers, local buying groups, so consumer groups, and consumer cooperatives, and also distributors that share a platform, a digital platform, in order to place orders and manage the logistics around agroecological products. Katuma is also a member of Open Food Network. Actually, Open Food Network is the entity that that has the governance over the software that is open source. Katuma also contributes as any other member of the Open Food Network to the costs of maintaining the infrastructure and the development of the software. So the idea is that we see that there is a kind of proximity commerce with a networked logistics between small producers, local producers, and small or middle big groups of consumers locally that try to interact, avoiding the classic intermediaries. So the idea is that we provide as a service and from the same community of producers and consumers a digital platform to allow and to make it easy to create consumer groups in your town, or just to make it easy for producers to receive the orders, rationalize a bit all these kind of information flows. Also, all this aim is also related to allow people, especially producers, small local producers, to reach the end of the month because their work is really fragmented. There is lots of frustration trying to collect all the orders and try to manage all the logistics. So together we are gathering all the information from all the sides, from producers, distributors, and also consumers, to understand how to scale this kind of commerce, of local commerce, in the networked economy, in order to empower this kind of economical sector. More or less, this is the main introduction. So just to make it clearer, Katuma, that is our local instance of Open Food Network, we already have, we can go to the map and see whenever it opens. We already have some producers and some buying groups using the platform, and they just the buyers enters, go to the shop today or local buying group, choose what they need for that week, and that order gets placed to the producers and then shipped. This is the basic format that is really, it works. It has been working all over the world for years. We are just providing a way to make it easier, to make it more efficient, but without losing the governance over it, because there are other platforms, of course, that are trying to take in this market, but the point of Open Food Network and of Katuma is that the property and the governance over all the things, from the software or from the servers, whatever, everything is in the hand of the producers and the consumers.
Okay, so the idea is that we share now a few ideas of how can a complementary currency system, a citizen currency like the REC, which is our initiative, can collaborate with Open Food Network and initiatives of consumer groups for ecological food. Well, one of the main reasons for the REC, the citizen currency, is to empower these circles, economic circles at a local level. This is in the first place to increase income for the ones that are participating, for the citizens that are participating right now, which is because they are in a bad situation, in a poverty situation. But the idea in general can also contribute to go farther in the medium long term and encourage the local consumption. So we are now focusing on local shops, but the idea is in the middle long term go to encourage the consumption of local product, which is something we cannot go extract from now.
Yeah, and in our case, this is kind of already there, because we, since we cover all the chain from the producers to the consumers, if we try to understand how to integrate currencies like REC or similars with this similar approach, no, into our system, it can be easier to reach this kind of circulation. There is also another point that I was thinking about, since one of the goals of REC also is to fight the desertification in these areas. Keep in mind that the consumer model behind Katuma and Open Food Network is a collective consumption. And that means that people, this is also a model that we see a lot to just gather people. It's not only to buy food, but it's also to build neighborhoods. And this is really, really important. So, and I think it can be for two phases, no?
Exactly. Yeah, because also in the REC system, one of the targets is to encourage the social capital, to enforce the social capital and allow people to make connections between their neighbors, among the neighbors. So that's another point in which they can coincide.
Exactly.
I think these two initiatives. On the other hand, the REC is a very simple to use app system, payment system that anybody can just make a transaction face to face or to a contact in their book of addresses. So address book. So it's very easy to send a link to pay a contribution to the network. So if you're in a consumer group, you have to pay every month 10 euros for your shopping. The manager of this system can just send a link, which is the same for everybody in the group, and they can just go to their app and make a payment. And it will take any of them 5 seconds to manage the payments of the whole community. So it's very convenient as a method of payment, of digital payments.
Or if we can go even, sorry, even further, if we can use the API of the application.
And integrated.
Integration between Open Food Network and this kind of local currencies.
Exactly. And also, there's also another, we can combine the marketing apps that we have, because they have showed this, map of consumer groups. We also have a map of shops of the area. So that's something else that we can combine together.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah, I think that's a little bit the idea.
Yeah. If there is
Any questions? Yeah.
Yes. What do you?
What do you need to start using REC? If I wanted to, it's just downloading an app and buying REC with euros?
You only need to download the app from the Google Play. It's called REC Barcelona, and then just download it, and then you have to open an account, register. You can register as an individual or as a company, and then you just you have to charge with credit and with your credit card or your debit card, and then you can just pay. The only thing is the commerce, the shops that will accept RECs for you. It's only in the area that I showed. So in the north of the city, northeast of the city, and that's the only place where you can spend the RECs right now. But one of the projects this is a pilot project, as you can imagine. And so the idea is that if it works well, we can extend it to the rest of the city afterwards. So that will allow anybody to just spend RECs.
No, it's, this is loud. No, it was only to know what's the plan, the extension plan. If you, what's the, if it's in the future, I don't know, in 1, 2, 3 years, how do you imagine that it can develop in the coming years in Barcelona and in the region, maybe?
That's very important, because one of the issues that we have spent more time working on is the legal structure. So the REC is officially is a virtual currency. It's backed with an official payment entity. So it's 100% backed in euros today, but the structure of the REC is totally open. So it doesn't have to be exactly like it is right now. It can evolve in time. And it will evolve using the knowledge and also the interest of the stakeholders, because it will be managed by the stakeholders. So that's a very important feature of the REC. It's not a currency that will be just a form of euros in a digital wallet. It can be much more. It can be anything that the users want. Right now it has a structure that fits the needs for this stage. And it can evolve in the future in other forms. So that's also very important.
Yeah, from our point of view, it's also important because generally that area, if you think about reaching the producers, there are no producers there. You need to reach producers that are maybe in Maresma or just in areas right there, you know.
It's true. So the extension, one part is that it can be anything. We will provide possibilities to the stakeholders as let's say the technical team that are running this project. But of course, it will be up to them to go one way or the other. And yeah, the extension in territory will be desired, because otherwise you can really close the loop of the local consumption in our area. It's there's only one little, very very small, I don't know, maybe 500 square meters of agriculture land. So there's nothing that we can do in terms of local consumption of food. But if we extend the scheme to the rest of the city and the metropolitan area, then we can do much more in that sense.
I was thinking about another thing that I think it's important to remark for both projects that are stakeholder driven, and the governance is purely in the hands of the people that will use it in both cases, both Open Food Network Katuma and both REC. I think it's important because sometimes it's a really wonderful project, but behind there is a company or venture capital or whatever, so the interests can be different at least. But in this case, this kind of governance that we are proposing, it's more resilient about that.
Although there can be companies involved in both systems, because of course we'll need once the pilot project is over, we will need to provide for our own expenses. So we'll need income, and of course we'll need to manage that. So that may. Of course, we'll need sources of income, products that we can sell, so we can pay the expenses. And of course, we can make some connections with other companies. Okay, so.
But in order to change the structure of how the whole thing works, this thing you are talking about, that the community could change how it's managed, I guess a company could have the same power or the same vote that any other person, individual, who is or not.
That's the point. That's the. I don't know if you want to reply for REC, but in our case, it's a service cooperative. The people that join the cooperative has governance over the project, and that's it. So there is no an external. Yeah.
Agrees.
Could do it.
If in 2 years' time, for example, the whole configuration of the system has changed and the community wanted to evolve, my question was if a company which is part of the network, would have the same power in the decision that any other individual or any other stakeholder.
In our case, yes, because it's a cooperative, so it's one entity, one vote. And also you have statute, you have lots of even legal structure that cooperatives gives you, for instance, to protect against that.
In our case, I can't really answer yet because we are right now making the decision of how the idea is that the users are a main source of power in the structure, but also there are other stakeholders like association of producers, association of commerce. So and maybe the council is not sure, but maybe it will be somebody else to take, to contribute to the decisions. But right now, the only thing we need is we are deciding in order to protect the project and put it in hands of the stakeholders, which are not only the users, but also the future users. So for right now, only a very few part of the city is included. So we're trying to include also associations of neighbors or association of companies, businesses that will also participate in the future when it's extended to the rest of the city. So we are configuring this kind of governance. And it's probably going to be a cooperative also, but we still don't know. It's like we're working on it now. So I think that's anybody has another question? No? Okay, so thank you very much.